Welcome back everyone, and thanks for joining me for yet another episode of my Aston Villa career on FIFA 16, and things are getting exciting, I must say, in the league at the moment. 24 games gone, we're in 5th in that Europa League spot, and up next we had Liverpool visit us at Villa Park. Now in the last episode you saw that Liverpool had offered me the hot seat at Anfield. It was a tricky decision. I was and ahhing, and you guys, by the way, were fantastic in the comments below on yesterday's episode. Let me know what you think I should do. But I've come to the decision now that I'm going to be staying at Villa Park in charge of Aston Villa. I'm going to be doing what I set out to do, and that is to make Villa, or remove that brand that's been surrounded by Villa for numerous seasons now as a crisis club. We can't be doing with that. I want to get Villa back into Europe, winning silverware once again. They're a club with rich history. And you know, I think if I had have moved to Liverpool, I think it just would have made things a bit more confusing, a bit more awkward, seeing that this actually started out as a Villa career, so you know what I mean. We're going to be sticking with Villa for now on, and I want this series to rival past series that I've done with teams like Swansea and Everton as well. Up next on our schedule in the Premier League, Liverpool had come to visit us here at Villa Park in hope of 3 points. The last time we played them back at Anfield earlier in the season, it ended 1-1. It was a pretty exciting game. We didn't know who was going to walk away with the spoils. Obviously a point was just shared between both teams on the day, but I think this game at Villa Park topped that. I mean, I brought in Alan Hutton to replace Michael Richards, who was looking really tired and fatigued for this one, and he almost scored a wonder goal. It was meant to be a cross, but it almost found the top corner. Mignolet looking lively to actually stop that from crossing the line, and look at Daniel Sturridge's chance there. 24 minutes gone. The ball was just begging to go into the back of the net, but the crossbar, I mean, he had Adrian beat, but the crossbar getting in his way. He was distraught that he couldn't get himself on the score sheet. I think my heart was like in my mouth when his head connected with the ball, and sigh of relief when it hammered against the crossbar and went out for a goal kick. What a game though. I mean, it has to be one of the better games I've played in charge of Aston Villa in this first season. It was intense, everything that you expect from a football match, a lot better than that game back at Anfield. And we were finding it hard to try and get on the score sheet, trying to get that first goal, come away with all important 3 points. Just couldn't get it as we headed closer and closer to that final whistle. You can see Garnagay finding Stephen Naismith, who was brilliant at dribbling in this game, and he almost fed the ball through to Charlie Austin. I think if the ball had just crept through, Austin probably would have found the back of the net with his chance there. Man of the match though for this game was certainly Daniel Sturridge. He was looking very lively in front of goal, and if it wasn't for that man, our new signing from January, Adrian, I think Liverpool probably would have come away with a 1-2-0 win, and of course those 3 points. But in the end, it finished 0-0. Really exciting draw actually. Don't hear me say that very often, but it was, and it was a well-earned point. Up next, we travelled down south to play West Ham, the Hammers, in search of 3 points to get ourselves back into that Europa League spot after drawing to Liverpool. I think we'd been knocked down to 6th. So we was in need of a good performance, a good win at Upton Park here against West Ham, but we were certainly going to be up against it. They had Guzan in goal, the mighty Guzan, who was poor for me, but whenever I've come up against him on FIFA Career Mode, he's like the world's greatest goalkeeper. It's so difficult to put anything past him. Also, Adrian was in the starting lineup for Villa, returning to Upton Park, obviously because he came from West Ham, and it's like a mini little competition, like a battle within the wall between these two goalkeepers. Who would concede first? Would it be Adrian? Would it be Guzan? And I thought it'd be Adrian because of that effort from Aubameyang. It was struck so sweetly with such power. Adrian was forced to make the save to punch it clear for a corner kick. Couldn't do anything else about it. Payet came close on several occasions. That was probably his best chance that he had there. Throw on goal. Had a little bit of time as well. Probably could have took a touch and lined up his shot, but no, he went first time. Then up the other end, Clement Grenier took the ball. It was a weird effort this. It was like a finesse shot, trying to curl the ball. I mean, he had Guzan beat. The ball just wasn't curling enough to get it around him. And then Austin was through on goal, still carried on pursuing the ball, and just look at that cheeky little back kick to Leandro Bacuna, who found himself in a world of space. And it was Guzan that would lose that little competition that was going on between both goalkeepers against their former sides. just look at that back kick. I think the kick from Austin was better than the finish itself. Whilst playing this, I was thinking to myself, how are we in the lead in the second half? How? Because West Ham have been so on top of their game. They played a lot better than us. They controlled possession. They controlled the amount of shots that they had. Obviously, we were a lot more clinical with the chances we were given, and we had to, because I've found it kind of hard actually trying to get anything past Tompkins and Ogbonna. They're so difficult. They really do shut you down and stop you from operating in that final third. So we had to take a couple of risks. I mean, saw quite a few long shots from Grenier. You know, he's a lot better on his weaker side as well. I think he's got 5-star. So the majority of his chances were on target. And this is what I mean about Guzan. When I come up against him on FIFA, he becomes the world's best goalkeeper. He pulled off some amazing saves in this game. And you know, I think if he'd have performed like that for us in the first half of the season, he would still be with us. And Adrian obviously would still be at West Ham. But yeah, anyway, I still think we're better off with Adrian in goal. West Ham, anyway, in the 75th minute, got the equaliser that they were looking for. The goal coming from Payet, simple header, poor defending from Michael Richards. Didn't even pick up Payet, he wasn't even on his radar. He came in, quiet as a mouse, slipped that into the back of the net, simple as you like. The final score at Upton Park was West Ham 1, Aston Villa 1. Another point picked up in the league. Wasn't quite sure what the guy in the high-vis was doing there. Maybe he was warming up for a five-a-side game between his security colleagues at Upton Park once the ground had cleared. Who knows? We had to quickly turn our attention to our next game in the Premier League. We were at the Britannia Stadium. Could we do it on a cold night in Stoke? We weren't sick. We were a point behind Man City and Swansea, 2 points behind Manchester United, and a massive 10 points behind the league leaders Chelsea. There's still time, we can still catch up, we can still win the league, but we had to make sure that we wrapped up 3 points here against Stoke, and that's a challenge in itself. Stoke, they came out firing on all cylinders. Juve came very close, almost found the top corner with his chance, but look at that finesse from Sinclair. I was just waiting for the ball to hit the net in there and for us to be 1-0 up. Butland was rooted to the spot. He wasn't going to do anything about it. And oh, Sinclair, what an opportunity. What a goal it would have been. But Jack Butland, absolutely superb goalkeeping. Great reflexes. Great save all around. But I just seen that on the replay. I just wish that Sinclair had scored that, because it would have been some goal. Just before we headed in for the break, Scott Sinclair cut inside again after receiving such an incredible ball from Gana Gay. And he brought it in, found Sanchez in space, probably had time as well to line up the shot instead of going and hitting it first time. And I can see why you guys recommended Jack Butland. He was, well, I don't think anything needs to be said about Butland really. What a player with so much potential still as well. The best chance of the game went to Stoke from Peters. Juve, I think, just wanted to leave the ground. He couldn't believe what he was witnessing. Peters really should have been burying that and making it 1-0. And because he didn't make it count, his team paid for it. And they went a goal behind. Aston Villa got their nose in front with that finish from Scott Sinclair. It was a finesse shot. Butland just about saved it, but unfortunately for him, it went under his arm and across the line. And we found ourselves in the driver's seat. Probably should have smashed that up into the left corner. Probably would have looked a little bit nicer. It was a bit of a scrappy goal. But I did expect a bit of blowback from Stoke. I did expect them to really come at us with everything that they got. And Juve, the amount of chances he had on goal, we were really frustrating him. And Shaqiri with his effort there. He was offside, but I mean, what a chance for him as he hit it on the volley straight down the throat of Adrian. But it just wasn't enough, and we fortunately and probably luckily came away with the win here. 1-0 away win at the Britannia Stadium against Stoke, and another 3 points for Aston Villa. We're in a really good place at the moment. I'm liking it. We're finding a bit of form at such a crucial point of the season. That last stretch till the very end. We do have some very tough games coming up soon, such as Chelsea, Tottenham, and so on. And you know, we're not missing fur as much as I thought we would. You just got to take every game as it comes. Anyway, guys, that's going to be it for this episode. Hope you've enjoyed. See you at the next one.